my spiritual journey compels me to do something about it, and to be able to know that we could actually do something. Because I'll be honest, when it originally happened, if it hadn't have been an island, I would have organized us to do a caravan. Personally, I feel that we here have been given an opportunity to be of service.
And answer a call.
Yes, and so that's how I see us approaching this. Not like, we're going to be like some saviors for those poor people. I see it as God answered a prayer of how can we help.
I also was thinking a lot about when you came in as pastor at this church and became permanent pastor, senior pastor, and then the things that you were talking about right in the beginning were about wanting to do programs, things like when Maya mentioned wanting to do water or things for the homeless. So these kinds of acts of service was already on your mind, and you were expressing it to the congregation. So it seemed, again, natural. And then when you immediately said, oh, could you be an ambassador? It felt completely... It was meant to be. It was coming. And then, of course, we have Lane and we have Jill and my mom, and we're excited that we're going to go there together. What do you hope to get out of the whole experience?
The experience. I think, what do I hope to get out of it? I hope to get the experience out of it, and that means having the ability, as I said, to be of service. But more than that, and I've shared it with you, privately, that I actually went back and forth on whether or not for me to physically go. Right. Because I had to figure out if I could justify leaving. We could just, you're already going, you're doing a great job organizing, I'll let the other folks go, from our church, I don't have to. But I realized that it is important for me to go, because for a couple reasons. I want the pastor there, I want
Reverend Albert
and the congregation to know that they are important enough, and this situation is important enough, that I, as the senior pastor here, am willing to, leave on a Sunday and go, because they are important. It's hard for a senior pastor to not be in their pulpit on a Sunday, but I was like, I have to make the sacrifice, and the church has to make the sacrifice, because I want them to know that
and they're coming with us in spirit.
Right, and that the person who's, quote, in charge here in this community of faith is willing to take my time and go. I also feel that if I have any position of influence or any sphere of any platform to be able to tell their story here, that's important. And to do it firsthand. That I will go, I'll get to meet people, I'll get to see, I'll get to experience, and then I can tell the story. In the way that I can. And I feel that since it's not a huge platform, but I know I have a platform that I can share. Their story is important, and I feel that I can do it. And so, that's another reason of going. And and there is I will say that there's a selfish part of it. My whole organizing career, I've always organized so that other people could go do it.
Really?
Yeah. I've always been the one who, I'll organize it, could go, I want to go. I want to go be able to be in the, not that I'm a great carpenter, but, I follow a carpenter.
So many Bible stories of people who never, they weren't disciples and they didn't know how to, and then suddenly they were. And
I want to go. I want to go to be an example. I want to go to be an example for those who I have the opportunity to pastor and shepherd. That it's, sometimes we have to make the sacrifice to go and do the difference. And I also know, Adrian, that I am going to be blessed abundantly. I enter into this I think the overall feeling is I am humbled and honored to be able to go.
Me too.
And so the fact that I will get to go and have this experience is really, it is humbling. And I am grateful. I am very grateful that I get to go.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all of the pieces are in place because I have experience in Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican. I speak Spanish. My mother has a vast knowledge of Puerto Rico,
Right.
so her contribution to the team, I think,
Yeah.
is very useful in communications between
Yeah.
us and them as well. And the other thing is, you know, in Puerto Rico, there are 3 MCC churches. Imagine in the island, 3 MCC churches that very rarely get a chance
Yeah.
to communicate with the States and what's
Yeah.
happening here. So the work that, you know, they're doing work out there that is very much like the work we're doing here.
Right.
And we could put our minds together about
Right.
how we can continue globally in this
Right.
work that we're doing for the community, for the, not just the LGBT community, but for all people.
Well, and
For all people.
and that's the other part, to be able to go and be of support to the MCC there.
Yes.
You know, because as we've
Because they
talked
never
about,
hear from us,
yeah,
you know?
it's just like, they're forgotten. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not forgotten, but it's
But
like
they're out there. They're
out
kind of
there.
in an island, you know? Yeah.
But and for them to know that they have the support of these strangers, and that
Mhm.
we are connected through Christ.
Right.
You know.
So that they don't have to, they could say, oh, we know those folks in Los Angeles. We communicate with them
And wouldn't it be cool to have an ongoing, sibling relationship with each other?
Absolutely.
So that
Yes.
they can know that there's this, little church in the hood that,
Mhm.
loves them and cares for them in California, and that we know that there's this church in Maragüez that
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
keeps us in prayer and
Yes, and to be honest, that they are a part of the United States, and that we're treating it as such, so
Yeah.
that they don't feel left out, so
Right.
that they, things that are happening here. I think the link is really important.
yeah, I do too.
So I know that ICM Cristocentrica is looking forward to it. So are we, and I'm here talking with the Reverend Dr. Pat Langlois, the senior pastor of MCC UCC in the Valley Church, and I thank you so much for being here today.
Yay. Amen.
Amen. We did it.
All right.
5 of us from Los Angeles are going to join the church in Puerto Rico, the ICM Cristocentrica, along with the Reverend Jose Albert Rivera in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico, and we're actually going to put up steel panels onto the rooftops ourselves. We're looking forward to meeting the people over there, and we're looking forward to letting you know on how you made the difference. Please click on the link and donate now.